Alright, so today we have a condenser fan motor that has failed. We're going to go ahead and swap that out. We have the replacement part and a brand new capacitor. Here we go. So you always take an inventory of the current setup. It looks like the wires coming out of here are yellow, brown, and black. Here's my brown to the capacitor at fan. And I have one of these yellows and one of these blacks, so we'll diagnose and figure out which that is. Alright, it looks like the yellow is down here, on the bottom side of the contactor. So we'll go ahead and wiggle that off. Sometimes you need to put a tool on it. Obviously making sure we pulled out the disconnect. Here we got the yellow. Black is right here on the top side of the top of the contactor. So we'll go ahead and wiggle that off. Alright, once we've done that, we remove the screws mounting the condenser fan motor to the top here. And we'll go ahead and wiggle that out. Pull those wires out and flip this bad boy over. Alright, next thing, we're going to go ahead and remove this fan blade set screw and disconnect the motor from the grill. And we've got the new motor here. So here we go. This is usually the hardest part. Oftentimes these fan blades have been sitting in there. They get oxidized from the rain, so they're on there pretty tight. So using some sort of penetrant lubricant is often the best bet. Alright, we removed the fan blade and set it on the new motor. Next we gotta remove that grill and mount that and the grounding screw. Alright, we've got my 7/16 impact bit. We'll get these guys off. Alright, hand tightened these screws onto the mount to prevent stripping. So now we're just going to loosely tighten them in a star pattern like you would a car tire, and then buckle them down just a little bit. There we are. Next up, we're going to take this protective rubber sheath for the wires and set it on the new one. Okay, we got the rubber sheath on. Now we just got to fish these wires down in through that hole and plug that up to prevent moisture from getting inside. It's already pressed up against the motor side, which is important. And then we'll wire it up. Alright, we fished our wire through. It's almost done. Now we have a 5/16 bit. We'll tighten these down in a star pattern. Lightly at first. Then we'll wire it up. Alright, so we fished our wires through, bolted that down. So first we'll mount power. And my black went right here on the top of the contactor. Wiggle that in. My yellow came down here on the bottom of the contactor. Wiggle that up. Alright, and then we'll zip tie all this down in a minute. First, let's change this contactor. We'll remove this 1/4" screw and rewire the new one, which should be 40 and 7.5 microfarads. Alright, now before I start messing with the capacitor, I want to make sure I discharge the voltage that's stored inside. So I'm going to grab my meter, turn it up to volts, and then I want to touch from common. If you brush this off, you can see this yellow one's common. This blue one over here says HERM, which stands for hermetic. and the back one over there will say fan. It'll be hard to see right now, but so we're going to discharge that by going Herm to common. We'll go common to fan, and just to be safe we'll go fan to Herm, and now it should be safe to touch. Alright, so we've mounted the capacitor, wired it up, blue to hermetic, in this case yellow to common, brown to fan. Then we took all of our loose wire, bundled them up, and put it on a zip tie. Keep it nice and clean, snap off that end. Good. Before we close it up, we'll put that disconnect back on and turn it on. Let's test it out. Last thing you always want to check is that the fan is spinning in the correct direction. Switch out this electrical wiring, one for the other, and it'll reverse directions of the motor. But this guy's working. I'll go inside and test cooling and close her up.